The Man in the White Van is a 2024 thriller set to release on DVD, Blu-ray, and digital on September 29th. It's about a man in a, white van. Based off of true events, The Man in the White Van is loosely inspired by the cases of Billy Mansfield Jr., a serial killer from Florida that showed up in the 70s, which is when our story takes place. And the story here is exactly as you would imagine it to be. You have a mysterious stalker that drives around in a white van, and every year or so, he decides to kidnap and kill a girl. A majority of this film focuses on one such girl, Annie, played by Madison Wolfe, who begins to grow some suspicions that a white van in the neighborhood that she keeps seeing is up to no good. Her parents are played by Larter and newly appointed SAG president himself, Sean Astin. They both think that she's just being paranoid and it's just a vehicle, but she knows better. I'm gonna make a wild prediction here by saying that this review is going to be pretty short. There's just not that much to say about The Man in the White Van. From my perspective, they're banking pretty hard on having this film be a fun little cat and mouse thriller film, utilizing a couple of things like the famous unmarked white van that we've all feared our entire lives, and the tired but true trope of people ignoring or not believing you about what's very clearly an issue. On the surface, a lot of that I think does work. I think that what they were going for was this idea of, because this is a movie based off of true experiences, this is the reason we get anxious around an unmarked van. It's the white van origin story, if you will. That's all fine and dandy, but what ends up happening for real is the film just ends up being the biggest stereotype movie on the planet with immensely flat characters and an overly empty villain. Of course, they were going to go for a bunch of surface level ideas because this is a surface level film. You look any deeper into the movie, what do you get? A whole lot of nothing. Other than, of course, a combination of sequences that feel as if we've seen it all done 100,000 times before. A bad guy driving around in a white van? Oh, never seen that done before. A flatter than flat bad guy with no motivations whatsoever? Such originality. As if I couldn't find a fraction of anything that felt new or fresh. Of course they premiered this at the end of 2024 and it's taken 9 months to find a distributed home because companies probably didn't want anything to do with it. How hard is it to explain the motivations and psyche behind a crazy man and how he chooses his prey? How hard is it to develop your main character so that we care about her when nobody else in her life believes her? There's just so many flat, uninteresting characters that I'm almost shocked. Once again, the movie only works on the surface. That's it. Take it at face value. If you can do that, you'll be fine. You'll notice that in terms of technicalities, the film does what it attempts to do for the most part. It works for what it's worth. Nothing about the cinematography, editing, acting, or otherwise seems bad per se. Most of that seems adequate. Just insufferably forgettable at the same exact time. The script is relatively weak, ending up feeling a lot more like an outline or a Cliff Notes version than an actual fleshed out story. This happens, and then this happens, and then this ends that way, with none of the reasons as to why. Why the bad guy is doing what he's doing, why our main girl seems perturbed by it, why the bad guy is so transfixed on her specifically, why the parents don't believe a word of what she says, why we should care. It's just things happen. Accept it. So like I said, I'm keeping this one short. A surface level only movie requires a surface level only review. I'm going to give it 40 out of 100 possible stars, or a D- letter grade. That is 1% higher than a failing letter grade. Why? Because a lot of those technicalities really were adequate. It's just, it was nothing more than that. But what about you guys though? Have you seen this film? Have you seen The Man in the White Van? Are you a fan of it? Do you think that I'm wrong? Please tell me why in the comment section down below. And as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review, whenever and whatever that may be on. And until then, peace out.